Okay, this is another Eclipse that I'm restoring. This happens to be a 32 by 40 because the cutting area measures 32 high by 40 inches wide. This is the computer on a little stand for the monitor and keyboard. The tower is down here. I have the side off of the tower so I can show you that this is an original Gen 1 Eclipse. It's got a DMC 1030 ISA based motion controller in it. We're going to upgrade it in a minute. This happens to be a fixed stand. It is not adjustable. It does have a foot switch right there for the clamps. I have added this red panel here and for the power switch, e-stop, and clamp. Here we go. I have also cut off the back legs about 5 inches so the table will lay flatter. It cuts nicer that way, I think. Again, the serial number plate and circuit breakers are on this end of the electrical cabinet. I have the rear cover off of the electrical cabinet. In this model, the original Gen 1 Eclipses, the wiring came out of the top of the electrical cabinet here. These are now extra connectors because I've rewired the machine to a new standard so that I don't need those connectors anymore. You take a tour of the electrical cabinet. We've got a 5-volt power supply, a 24-volt power supply, starter contactor, and 2 fuses, one for each power supply. Okay, that's the back side of the breakers. This is the 48-volt DC power supply, and it runs the 3 servo amplifiers, brushless servo amplifiers. This is just a fancy place for connecting all the wires together. There are 3 relays here. One for the blade head, one for the amp to turn the amp or servo drives on, one to turn the brake on or off. These are the 3 home switch indicators. These are 24 volts. This is a 120 volt distribution block. This panel right here is called an ICM 2900. ICM for interconnection module. Oh, sorry, ICM 1100. I said that wrong. This is a Gen 1. It's used to interface to the controller via these 2 ribbon cables. These 2 ribbon cables run down through the bottom of the cabinet and over to the back of the PC here. Okay. Again, the air prep system is on this end. 80 psi for the machine, 40 psi for the cutting head, pressure switch so the machine cannot run unless there's air, an on-off switch so when you want to turn the machine off and isolate it from your computer, you can, or compressor, you can just turn this. Okay. I've got some extension cables for the mouse and monitor running over here to the back of the stand for the computer. These are brushless servo motors manufactured by Parker Hannifin right here. This is the parallel belt housing. It connects the motor to the drive shaft, which goes all the way down to the other belt drive there. This one, the motor runs here through a parallel belt housing here. And then there's a long belt inside the actuator that moves the cutting head up and down. And there's a brake. This is a power off brake, so when the power goes away, the brake sets. So if you hit the emergency stop button or the power goes out in your building, it's going to catch the head and keep it from sliding all the way down and slamming against the bottom rail.